Are you listening? Damn.
What's happening, my peoples? Oh, free flying fanatics, let's do this thing. Today we're going to talk about transitions from the low to the high. Like when you're stuck down in the inversion, you got to get back to that high ground. Happens to us all the time here in Santa Barbara with our marine air so thick. Anyways, transitions smoother than Caitlyn Jenner, baby. Here we go. So we're going to talk about 3 or 4. We're going to talk about when you're stuck in an antenna farm trying to get back to thermal factory. When you're stuck at the tunnel tit trying to get back to the double R. Cathedral Peak, trying to get back to La Cumbre Peak. And then the whole start of the game is when you're climbing out Eliminator and you want to slide over to this double R in the morning. So let's talk about antenna farm first. So here we go. You came out, you flew out to antenna farm, and you are stuck like Chuck. You can't break $3,000. You dove back a few times, been rejected down here because there's no thermal triggers below these power lines. So we're gonna get the side view here. And we're gonna get our drawing tool out. So antenna farm, so you've climbed up your $3,000 or so, you keep diving back and you get rejected every time. The reason is because you want to come on top of this spot right here. These work okay. Power lines are right here just for reference. These knobs are so-so. If you've tried a few times and you can't quite get to this spot, you can get up from here. But this is the sweet spot, right in the flat part, right under these rocks at the thermal factory. So the ticket to this is drifting in the zeros. So you've climbed up to $3,000 or so, and often, you know, when that bullet hits that inversion layer, it kind of disperses. It can make a buoyant area, maybe even a buoyant line. You know, there's always some kind of south wind, or we probably wouldn't be flying out here. So when you hit the thermal, and this thermal kind of disperses against the inversion layer, it can make a little bit more of a buoyant line. So instead of diving right as soon as you hit the top, you stay real flat, you float with those zeros, and you transition as far back as you can till you start falling out of those zeros. Often you'll be halfway back, maybe still the same altitude, but you've drifted half of the distance, which makes the glide a lot easier to get to your sweet spot. So that's it, drift with the zeros. So you hit the top of your climb, and then drift with it. Just play with it. Make real big, wide circles. Keep drifting out of the south, keep drifting out of the south. And hold that flat line all the way till you start dropping, and then boom, you go on glide and try to get in as high as you can. So the antenna farm to the thermal factory, it's a great trick, works often. Sometimes you even get a buoyant line 3/4 of the way back. So that's kind of how you do it. It's kind of the same concept from all these points, but we'll go over them one at a time. So let's go over here to the tunnel tit. So same thing, tunnel tit to the double R. You want to get on that high ground. You're tired of being in this inversion down here. So same thing. The sweet spot is, you know, this zone right in here. If you come in below it, this is going to be garbage. You're going to be squeezing back around the tit one way or the other. And, you know, anything above this is great, of course. We're always trying to gain the high ground. Once you are up here, you want to circle, and the higher ground is usually going to put out bigger thermals here in Santa Barbara. So from the tunnel tit, you're going straight up. You've gotten rejected a few times because you're diving from this $3,000. It's annoying. So instead, take your time. Once you hit the top, you know, let that south wind drift you in that buoyant air right at that inversion layer where the thermal disperses. And maybe you'll get halfway back, maybe you get 3/4 of the way back. You'd be surprised. And then when you start falling out of it, boom, you glide to your spot. Piece of cake. You're going to be up with your buddies in no time. Let's go one more. Let's go with Cathedral. Cathedral's about 2,900 feet at the top. Maybe you've scurried back from the VR low, the face of West Bowl. Maybe you're on the face of Cathedral. Often this is kind of ridge sorable up, so no big thermals, and you get just above the top. And maybe you're tired of being in the inversion. You could dive over to the tit, but you might be stuck in the same spot. But you could do the same trick at the tit and dive back to double R. But a fun one if you're bored or you want to do something different, or all your buddies are up high here at La Cumbre, is you kind of follow this guy. Let's look. Follow this guy back here along the spine. It rarely puts out, but it'll hold your buoyant line. And the idea is to dive back to this G spot. So let's look at that from the side. See what that looks like. So here's La Cumbre. You've ridge soared up the face of Cathedral. Oops, wrong button. And you've gotten up in here. So you follow this spine kind of back. Maybe you get some dolphining and some bubbles. And when you're here, now you could dive back at this G spot. This thing's always putting out. This is good times right here. and you just work this thing all the way back up La Cumbre. Boom, you're with your friends, you're in the high, cool air. Life was good. Glide on, baby, glide on. All right, so that's Cathedral to La Cumbre. Same kind of thing. You're hitting the top of your climb, and you're just drifting with it. Let that south wind push you. Use that buoyant air stuck up against the inversion layer, and drift with those zeros as far as you can. Stretch your zone out. All right, let's talk about real quick from Eliminator Skyport. I love this one. This is the early morning thing. Remember, the sun's coming from the southeast. It's been heating this face up all morning long. It's a big old face, like a huge ridge almost. And in the early morning, this thing works great, especially if it's a lower day and you need to get on that high terrain quick, because we're only at 3 grand right here, Skyport Eliminator, kind of in the inversion. So if you start your climb up, you get, often people take off right from launch level and get down here and work this thing up. But over a couple hundred over is a lot more comfortable. So instead of going to the thermal factory where it's been heating the wrong side all morning, dive over to the R&R. It's been heating the right side, the correct side. So the sun's been heating this southeast face all morning, cooking you a thermal, ready to get you to the moon. And if anything, you could just dolphin along this thing just to extend it to get to this good zone to start your day right here. So let's look at that. Let's clear that out again. So even if I rarely cut this bowl back unless I've drifted back here, then I go. Usually just go straight across, get in the meat of this thing, and then dolphin away. Often there's you figure eight around in here, but your goal is to get up above this point right here. The one thing I got to say with this though is you have to be okay with landing in the snake pit if you take this route. Because if you get hit by the west, it rarely happens. I see people land in the snake pit more often from going over here and getting stuck in the east and being down here than I ever have people taking this route. So, but you gotta be okay with it. It's not that big a deal to land down here. But anyways, you take that line across this face, been cooking your thermal all morning, ride the convection up, halfway up it, and then come over in a good spot. So anyways, that's transitions smoother than Caitlyn Jenner. This is your cracker signing off. See you up there. Here we gotta give a shout out to all the people and organizations that make free flight possible here in Santa Barbara and our surrounding areas. First off, we got Eagle Paragliding, which is eagleparagliding.com, one of the 2 paragliding schools in town. They will take you from zero to hero, baby. From the Bunny Hill to the mountains to all over the world. They got tours all over the place. They got SIV clinics going on with a boat and a lake. So hit up eagleparagliding.com. Arctic 4 is what I fly. It's the only glider I fly. I love it. I use it for everything. Niviac.com. Safest glider on the planet. Smash that bar and you're going places. Smoking those Enzos. Ha! Badass glider. I'm surfing the terrain all the time here in Santa Barbara. Never take a collapse, never a wingtip. I could launch this thing in technical conditions. I could fly it on the ridges and the training hill, hike with it. It's amazing. Get one. Fly Above All, our other paragliding school in town. You'll see them up at the VOR doing some tandems at the ridges, hanging out, supporting the local community. We got, and they are flyaboveall.com. Flyawayhanggliding.com. Willie, awesome hang glider instructor, ripper pilot, doing his thing here in town. Tandems all over the place. Call me if you want to learn how to hang glide. We got miniplaneusa.com. This is Chad Bastian's company. If you want to learn how to motor, take a lesson with Chad. Super fun. If you want to learn how to thermal too, watch this guy. He's at the hill every day for the last 20 years. Amazing technique. It's like an art form watching him thermal. Watch the way he moves his hands, the way he shifts his weight. You get a lesson all in itself just watching him. And then we have our Santa Barbara Soaring Association page, sbsa.info. You can see the chat box on here when people are talking about flying. The Twitters replicate on here from the 2 paragliding schools of when they're meeting and where the flying's happening. We also have a visiting pilots page. Santa Barbara Soaring Association keeps our sites flyable, our sites insured. Our wind talkers talking, so we definitely want to contribute to them. Definitely hit up a local before you come flying or one of the paragliding schools. All the contacts are on the visitings page, and you have to be a member to fly our sites. So we have a little donate here. You can donate and do it right online and be all set for when you come fly. So welcome to paradise.